back to pre-algebra math here. And we're going to do 7.1. Here's the contact email. Get a hold of me if you want a correction PowerPoint or videos or PowerPoints. (7.1) Percents and fractions. Here's the bell work. So vocabulary, write the ratio, write the fraction as a decimal or a decimal as a fraction. Good little exercises for students to do when they're walking in the door. It's like, good morning, now start doing your math. Percents and fractions, this is for your notebook students. You multiply fractions and whole numbers. You use a fraction to find a percent of a number. So you can compare tennis players' serving percentages. Hey. But then meanwhile, a marching band. Yeah, marching band. Bennett earns 85 points, has earned 85% of the total possible. What's 85%? What is 85%? What does that mean, class? Ask that in your notebook. The word percent means what? There it is. Writing percents. Here is a model that models 85%. 85% is this fraction right here. The algebra is P over 100 equals P percent. This is on your classwork, slide 2, page 2 of your classwork. Here's your vocabulary here. This goes in your notebook, students. Keeping your math notebook. Percent. Define percent. Example 1, writing percent of fractions or percent. Write 29% and 45% as fractions. In simplest form, here's 29%, 29 over 100. Here's 45%, 45 over 100, which can be simplified to 9 over 20. Classwork, page 4. 4 points here, students. You know why? Because we have a part 2 to this. Write 7 over 10 and 3 over 5 as percents. Now we're going to go the other way. How do we write 7 over 10 as a percent? This is how. We change our denominator to 100 by multiplying by 10. Numerator, denominator. That's how we get it. Change your denominator to 100. And then multiply your numerator by the same factor, and boom, you have your 60% here. Guided practice number 1, write percent as fraction in simplest form, or write the fraction as a percent. So we have a percent here. Write the percent as a fraction, and then your independent practice is here. Write the fraction as a percent. Write this as a percent, students. Write the percent as a fraction. So here's the fraction for 51%, 51 over 100. You're on your own there. Notebook, this goes in your notebook, students. Draw that turtle. No, just kidding. This goes in your notebook. In the real world, tortoises, 95% of its life underground. 95%. About what fraction of a desert tortoise's life is spent underground? About what fraction? So how would you write 95% as a fraction? I'm going to let you do that here. Students, this is in your notebook. In your notebook, write 95% as a fraction. Okay, I'm going to call. This is a good time for a teacher to call a student to the board to do. Here are some common percent fraction equivalents that may be used to memorize. Okay, common percents, 10%, 20%, 25%. Those are the fractions for them. %, blah, blah, blah. So this is classwork. This is on your classwork sheet, page 7. 4 points here. Example 2. Write a probability as a percent. So now a radio station randomly selects one of 5 finalists for a prize. This word is prize here. You are one of the finalists. What is the probability that you will win? This word's win. Write your answer as a percent. 1 out of 5 finalists for a prize. What is the probability that you will win? There are 5 possible outcomes, and 1 outcome is favored. You're going to have 1 winner here. So the probability you win is 1 out of 5, right? Probability is a fraction. What percent is 1 out of 5? 20%. Why is that? Because we multiply the denominator by 20 and the numerator by 20. So 20 over 100 is 20%. The probability you will win is 20%. Guided practice number 2. In example 2, suppose there are 10 finalists. What is the probability that you will win? Write your answer as a percent. So now there are 10 finalists. What's your probability that you will win if you're one of the 10? Oh, I just gave it away. Write your fraction here as a percent. So that's independent practice there. Okay, here is our answer for a guided practice. When the 10 finalists, what is the probability that you will win? Write your answer as a percent. Here is the solution here. Probability you win is 1 out of 10, because you have 10 finalists here. 1 out of 10 is the same thing as 10%, is it not? So the probability you will win is 10%. And then the independent practice, that's you students. Figure that one out. Classwork, example 3. We're back to our tortoise here. Classwork, page 10. A desert tortoise can go a year or more without drinking water. When it does drink, its body weight increases by 40%. Suppose a desert tortoise weighs 15 pounds after a long period without water. How many pounds can a tortoise gain when it drinks? So we got 40% increase, so it's 40% of 15. 40% of 15, use the fact that 40% equals 2 over 5. Then multiply 40% of 15 is 2/5 times 15. Write percent as a fraction. So 2/5 of 15 is 30 over 5, is it not? Because you multiply this times 2 over 15 is 30 over 5. So 40% of 15, which is 2 over 5, is 30 over 5, which equals 6. So, to wrap it up, a desert tortoise can gain 6 pounds when it drinks, because that's 40% of 15. 15 times 2 over 5 equals 30 over 5. Find a percent of the number. Find 50% of 14. How would we find that? And then your independent practice is here, 70% of 70. Find the percent of the number for 50% of 14. And so 50% of 14, as 50% is 1/2 times 14 equals 14 over 2, which equals 7. 70% of 70, I'll let you do that one. Then here's our homework here for 7.1. Here's our standards for this lesson, percents and fractions. Write the fraction as a percent, or rather write the percent as a fraction in simplest form, or write the fraction as a percent. So fraction, fraction, percent, percent. Oh, here's your quick answers there. And then 7, tennis. This is the tennis question that we had coming here. You can go through this, and then sometimes you can give solutions to your students after you go through the homework together. This is kind of a solution PowerPoint here for the homework to let you know what solution PowerPoints look like. So for 7, find the number of successful serves you had. So here, coming from the table here, 75% of 152. Find the number of successful serves your opponent had. So your opponent had 75 successful first serves. Find the difference of numbers in steps 1 and 2. You had 39 more. So this gives you an idea of what a solution PowerPoint can include. And that's why you have grader on your title slides on your lessons. You can go through these lessons together with your students and then pass them around. Let other students do the grading. Sometimes students learn more by grading than they do by doing the actual lesson. Write the percent as a fraction. 34% there, 40% there, and then 71% there. Same thing here. Write the fraction as a percent. 4/5, 3/25, and then 9 over 20. So this shows you the mathematics here to deriving a percent from a fraction. Then more, we have a word problem here using a circle graph, which is very, very good question here. And then if you don't have room here, students, attach a piece of paper. Don't say, oh, Mr. Ruff, I don't have room. Attach a piece of paper and then staple it and hand it in. Don't say, oh, there's no room here. Attach a piece of paper, okay? Enough said. And then 55, critical thinking. This is a good metacognition problem here. And that is 7.1. Ordering information here for PowerPoints for the whole pre-algebra course. Don't forget,